Good morning, Year 4. It's Wednesday, the 13th of January 2021. Your LO is to develop characters by using dialogue. Dialogue just means speech between characters. Just pause the video while you're writing those down on a fresh page. We have a grammar starter again today. We're using suffixes, so word endings. We last saw this on Monday. And today we've got to just work through this sheet. Number one, put an X next to the sentence that uses the correct suffix. You're looking at A, the wicked witch was so envious of her sister that she turned green. The word you need to decide whether it's right or wrong is envious. B, the poisonous apple was given to Snow White by the evil queen. We're looking at poisonous. C, the magician created a powerful illusion for his dangerous trick. We're looking at dangerous. Okay, and D, the elf was in trouble because it should be asked, shouldn't it? There, her permission to leave. So this is the word we're looking at, permission. Okay, are they the correct spellings? So we've got envious, poisonous, dangerous, and permission. Have a look at that. Let's see if you can work out whether they're correct or not. So the first one, envious, if you have a word ending in Y, you need to change it to I and then O-U-S. So envious is not spelled correctly, so that's a cross. All right, poisonous, well, we've got poison, there's the root word, and then O-U-S on the end. Yep, that's correct. We have dangerous. Danger is the root word there. And with the us suffix, that's correct. Then we have the elf was in trouble. Permission. Well, the root word is permit. This says permiss, and then it's got a different kind of shun ending to the one we're using today. This is T-I-O-N instead of S-I-O-N, so that one's incorrect. Okay, now let's look at number 2. What you have to do here is sort the words into the table based on which suffix can be used and write the newly formed words in the table. Okay, it says you might need to add or remove other letters. So you need to write down the words which are down here. Just write them in a list on your page. Explode, disaster, collide, adventure, decide, and moment. And then you're going to need to decide whether you add the us or shun suffix to make the new words. For example, explode. Well, is it going to be explodus or explosion? Right, explosion. But I know I'm not going to need a D and an E in explosion, so I'm going to take those out and then I'm going to write the new word out, explosion. Okay, putting these two items together. So write out the root words and then write out the words with the correct suffix, and we'll have a look in a second. Pause the video while you're doing that. Right, so hopefully you had explosion, we talked about. Then disastrous. Well, this is a tricky one. You'd think it would be disaster and then us, but actually you need to take out the E. Disastrous. Collide, it's not collidus, it's collision. You need to take out the D and the E. So you end up with C-O-L-L-I-S-I-O-N. Adventure becomes adventurous. Again, you need to just take out that E. Decide becomes decision. You need to take out the D and the E and then put D-E-C-I-S-I-O-N. And moment becomes momentous, and that's where you just add the O-U-S at the end. Well done if you got some of those right. If you didn't, make your corrections now. Just pause the video while you're doing that. For number 3, Ella has written the sentence below. It is a special occasion on Saturday because it's my little sister's birthday and we're going to throw her a fabulous party. The two words you need to look at here are occasion and fabulous. Using what we learned from the table up here, do you think those suffixes are correct? So here we have a suffix and another one. Are they right? And if not, why not? Try and answer that question now. Okay, hopefully you said that that should have been an S, not a T on occasion, and that fabulous needed to have an O before the U. Okay.
Right, yesterday we we planned out Story Mountain Plan. We wrote an introduction, and in our introduction a character found something, which was either a mysterious egg, a lion cub, or a child with special powers. Now we're going to move on to writing the build-up, and in the build-up we're going to use dialogue to develop our characters. Rather than saying, the climber was a very nice man, but the wife wasn't quite so nice, which would be a bit boring. We're going to show what they're like through what they say. And that's how writers use speech or dialogue to develop their characters. They show us what people are like. So let's read the example and then go through it. When the climber returned home to his wife, he opened his coat and showed her the cub sleeping next to his chest. "You fool," said the wife bitterly. "What do we need with a new pet, and one that will eat us when it's grown up?" "But, my dear," said the climber, "the animal would have died if I hadn't brought it home for food and shelter." The wife looked at the little lion, and her heart softened. "We will feed it for now, but I warn you, lions are supposed to be kings of the wild. They can't live like pets." "We shall see," said the climber. "Let him know love and warmth, and let's see if lions can be pets." Right. You might remember some of the rules of speech or dialogue, and let's just check I followed them all here. So we first of all, have we used speech marks around the things that are said? The first thing that the wife actually says is, "You fool." I'm just going to highlight that. Actually what she says is, "You fool." And yes, we have the speech marks around it. We have the punctuation inside, so in this case we have an exclamation mark because she's probably a bit angry, I think. So that's the exclamation mark. We also have a capital letter. Perfect. Right. So we've got speech marks, we've got capital letter and punctuation, and we've just got that around what she actually says. "You fool," said the wife bitterly. "What do we need with a new pet?" So the next thing she's saying is that, what do we need with a new pet? Again, can you just check for me, please? Have I put in the speech marks in the right place? Ah, there's no speech marks here. Why is that? Because she carries on talking. Right. We don't need them there because she carries on talking. And one that will eat us when it's grown up. Again, we've got our punctuation at the end. We have a question mark there. And then we have our speech marks closed because that's the end of what she says. Okay, now we have a new line for a new speaker. This time the climber's going to talk. And he says, "But my dear." And then he says, "The animal would have died if I hadn't brought it home for food and shelter." Okay, just check for me. Did I get my punctuation inside the speech marks there? Did I put my speech marks in? Yep. Yep. Remember, you have a comma inside there if the sentence isn't finished yet. We always have a capital letter at the beginning of speech. Yeah. Okay, so again, we're swapping lines. Why? Because now it's going to be the wife talking. The wife looked at the little lion, her heart softened. "We will feed it for now." That's what she actually says. So I highlight that bit. "But I warn you, lions are supposed to be kings of the wild. They can't live like pets." Again, we have, sorry about my wonky lines, and we have our punctuation inside our speech marks. And then a new line for a new speaker. "We shall see," said the climber. "Let him know love and warmth, and let's see if lions can be pets." Right, so we know we've got the rules of speech right. What do we learn about the characters? Well, I can infer that the wife is a bit more, or a bit less soft than the climber. Would you agree? He's obviously very soppy about this cute little lion. The wife's a bit more practical. The first thing she thinks about is the fact that when the lion grows up, it might eat them because it's a wild animal. We've got the beginnings of the argument here, and that's really important for our story, because without that we don't really get any build-up. If everyone agrees, there is no story, so we have to have this disagreement. We've got the climber that thinks the lion can be like his pet dog, and he's going to train it to love him. And we've got the wife who thinks no, lions should be kings of the wild. How are you going to use something like this in your story? So if they found a child, what is the child's potential? Does one character not want the child to use their special powers and the other one does want them to use them? And why? So think about your character's reasons. My character, the wife, thinks the reason why is because she doesn't want to get eaten by a wild animal. Okay? So there has to be a good reason for what they think and what they believe. Have a think about it now. Pause this while you're having a think about how you're going to work this in your story. Right, so it's your turn. You are writing the build-up of your story, and that's all I want you to do today. You need to aim for your characters having at least 4 exchanges, so saying at least 2 things each, like mine did. You need to follow the rules of writing dialogue. So capital letters to start speech, speech marks around what is said, punctuation inside the speech marks, and a new line for a new speaker. Okay, there's an example. You write it like this, said the teacher. No problem, said the amazing Year 4 student. I'll do that right now. Okay, if you need to pause this or go back to it, the rules are written down clearly for you here. So really, really try today to get the writing dialogue bit absolutely perfect. Write your build-up now and use dialogue or speech to show what your characters are like. So in this bit, the character has arrived home and showed the other character what he found. They discuss it. That could be quite a big argument, or it could just be a bit of a fierce discussion. One character wants the creature to stay at home and be cozy like a pet. The other wants the creature to be wild and free, or in the case of the child, reach its potential. I've put my example in again to help you. It's there at the bottom of the page, but please don't copy it. Use your own thoughts to build up a conversation, and the easiest way to do this is to say it before you write it down. So imagine your characters, say what they're going to say, and then write it down using the rules of speech. Try and do this for about 20 minutes at least, then check your work, preferably with a green pen. Go through, make your corrections, and if you can take a picture of that and send it to me, that would be fantastic. Good luck.